There's a better than average chance that you've heard me say this before, but the Halloween film franchise is my favorite of all of the blood-soaked sagas. It's just the best. It's also the one with the most continuity issues, head-scratching, mind-numbing moments, and changes to the appearance of the alpha of all killers, Michael Myers. And I know exactly what you're thinking. Coveralls, white mask, what changes, right? Just wait until we run through all the different looks that we're given of Michael's white mask. And luckily for you, we're going to do that right now. Coming in at the tail end of things is the mask that Michael wore in Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now this mask I've always affectionately referred to as the bird mask. I don't know how they made a mask that was worse than the one from Halloween 4, but they really torpedoed this one. I mean, the original Halloween mask was based off of a mask of William Shatner, Captain Kirk. And this mask winds up looking like something from another Star Trek, The Next Generation, and unfortunately it looks like Data, and that's not a good thing. Bad movie, worse mask. Let's move on to something just a bit better. So this one hurts my heart because I love the movie, but coming in at number 11 is Whatever We Got in Halloween H2O. Now, the people responsible for this movie must have been very, very concerned or more worried about the script, the story, the actors, because the little details like the mask were overlooked horribly. We get like 4 different versions here, and the only one that was even passable was the one that he wore when he killed Marion Chambers at the beginning of the movie. Now, if they stick with that mask, this is an exceedingly better film in my opinion. One of the masks wound up being like CGI, and the other one just looked like it was left out in high temperatures for too long. One of them looked like a pissed off teenager. I just really don't understand the direction they were going here, and that was a bummer for me because the only thing wrong with this movie, in my opinion, is the mask.
Oh, shit, man. Charlie, where the fuck you been at, man? Don't you know we've been looking all over this motherfucker for you?
So this will be the only time you see Halloween Resurrection not coming in dead last on the Halloween list, but it comes in at number 10. Many people that have working eyes consider Halloween Resurrection the very worst of the franchise. And I gotta tell you, all of those people are right. This movie sucks, and that poor mask, I don't know how they've gotten this wrong so often, but no one wants to see Michael's eyes. No one wants any bit of humanity in that killer, and eyes are windows to your soul, and we sure as hell don't want to see Busta Rhymes' eyes, especially after he summoned up that ancient kung fu ancestry to beat Michael's ass at the very end of this farce. This is some shameful stuff, guys. Number 9 leads us to Halloween 2 in 2009. Now, one thing that I felt like Rob Zombie nailed, just absolutely smashed, was the mask in 2007's remake. Then 2009 rolls around and fucks the whole thing up. But don't get me wrong, I do not mind blood and the small bit of wear that was on the mask at the beginning of the film, but by the end, when there's a quarter of it ripped off and he spends part of the movie not even wearing it at all, he just looks as white trash and run down as most of these other films during Rob Zombie's tenure have been. Major letdown, and the only way it could have been worse is if the white horse itself wore that mask during the third act of this one. Number 8 brings us the bewildered look. The Michael Myers from Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Now, much like Halloween H2O, this movie is a really tremendous piece of horror that is held back, even if it's just slightly, by the mask of our revered killer. Now I ask you again, why are the eye holes so big in this mask? I just don't understand it. And then for the longest time I was able to overlook it because I love the film. And then the shoulder pads, I was able to overlook the shoulder pads. But if this is a different look, like let's say you take the Michael from Halloween Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and plug him into this movie, it just feels better. I wouldn't care as much, but he looked so badass with his head bandaged up in that movie. We could have gotten away with that. I think it's a missed opportunity, But Halloween 4, a great film. Halloween 4's Mask, not so much. Lucky number 7 comes to us from 1981's Halloween Part 2. Now, this is one of the biggest head scratchers for me because this was the exact same mask they used in that 1978 classic, and I can't figure out why it's discolored. Why is it stretched out? Why does it look like it's been left out in the sun too long? And I believe this was the very first time this early on in the franchise that we were able to see Michael's eyes, and it happened very, very early in the film. The story is that Deborah Hill kept this mask in a shoebox under her bed, and she was a heavy smoker, and that was the cause for the wear on the mask. Because when you figure in Halloween and Halloween 2 happen all on the same night, he looks like he's been through one hell of a bender in this thing. Very great, very scary Michael Myers in this movie, no question about it. The mask, though, left a little something to be desired. Now we're at the halfway point, and from this point on, I love everything else that's left on this list. Number 6 comes to us from Halloween Ends, and even though people have varying opinions on that movie, a lot of people hate it, a lot of people really dig it, a lot of people appreciate the fact that they took a swing. I'm one of those people. The continuity of the mask in this trilogy is very admirable. I mean, they just keep up with it. It's one of the brightest points in this newest trilogy based in Haddonfield. And we don't get enough Michael Myers in this movie for my liking, but by the time he becomes a sewer-dwelling hobo, that mask that we adored from the 2018 direct sequel to the original very well looks its age, and I can appreciate that. It would have been very easy for them to just have him walking into a store and grabbing himself a new one, but this is what we got, and I'm here for it. Number 5 is from Halloween Kills, yet another maligned film from the Blumhouse Studios. Have you ever wondered what a Myers mask would look like if it had been fire roasted for a few minutes? We get that here. And it makes this brutal version of our Halloween killer a little more sinister and a lot more imposing. Now again, this is a film that has a lot of detractors, and it's deservedly so because of that Evil Dies Tonight chant that they just ruin things with. But the star of our show looks good, the mask looks scary, and the knife is still sharp enough by this point in our beloved October franchise. Just narrowing into the final 4, Halloween 2007, Rob Zombie edition. Now, Halloween Resurrection was a blight on this franchise, and after they turned over the keys to Rob Zombie, I had a great many concerns, and a lot of them were validated after that breakfast scene. But one thing that cannot be argued with, under any set of circumstances, is they nail the mask. Both when Michael first slips it on as a child, and later on in the film when he's an adult and he's escaped and he's returned to his childhood home and pulled it out of the floorboards of that place and slips it back on. The aging of the mask perfectly fits with the zombie aesthetic, coupled with the sheer size of Tyler Mane in this movie, makes him one of the most terrifying Michael Myers ever on the silver screen.
Quick, here, fuck!
Number 3 is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, and the mask that he wore in that film. Now, I did not like this Michael Myers at first, truthfully, but I think most of my disdain for the movie came from the decision to not bring back Danielle Harris as Jamie. I'm fiercely loyal to horror movies and horror characters that I love, and I grew up loving Danielle Harris. To this very day, she's amazing. But once you put that aside, not only is this a scary return to the idea of Michael as the shape, but this is easily one of the best masks that we have ever seen. As I mentioned before, if this is the mask for the next few installments, it makes those movies infinitely better. Great throwback scene to the little boy staring out of his window at the middle of the night and seeing Michael staring back at him. Haunting stuff. Michael's terrifying in this movie. I absolutely pop for it. Love it. Great mask. Top 3. Can't find anything to complain about in this one. Sliding into number 2, 40 years after we were first introduced to Michael Myers in 2018, we got Halloween. Now, only one moment in this movie sullies this beautiful mask for me, and that's when that doofy doctor slips it on right before driving Michael out to Laurie's wooded compound. Aside from that, though, the mask is gorgeous, and what I love about it is I feel like it perfectly marries Rob Zombie's weathered look with the original mask that haunted us our entire adolescence. That mask scared me to death. And something I love here, you cannot see the eyes of our killer. That's important to me. A small detail, I know, but I enjoy the idea of there being nothing there, nothing behind it. No person, just evil. And in 2018, we got a whole lot of evil. Well done.
You don't really know much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy.
Before we get to the obvious number one, honorable mention goes to the masks that were worn in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I hated the movie for a long time. I still have my issues with it, but those masks, and more importantly, what happened when kids would wear that mask and hear that jingle, is iconic. It's terrifying. The idea of it is very unsettling. Any notion of a child being harmed sucks, but when you take into account this dastardly dude's plan on Halloween to sacrifice that many children with those 3 specific masks, the pumpkin, the skull, and the witch, which, by the way, are iconic in every single way, and they made a trip back to us in Halloween Kills with 3 of the kids. I thought everything was really, really outstanding, and I heard that they were thinking of an alternate ending for Halloween Ends that involved the Silver Shamrock Factory churning out Michael Myers masks. God, I would have popped for that. But all roads lead to one, and there was never a doubt which mask would be the best in show. And the second that I saw this entity staring at Lori while she was in class, and then later up at her through her bedroom window, I was shook. That blank, white, expressionless mask coupled with that iconic theme from Halloween in 1978, that was the scariest part of my childhood, bar none. I don't care what you threw at me from Crystal Lake. I don't care what kind of bad dreams I had on Elm Street. None of it mattered. That look and that killer were terrifying. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why this was so hard to get right for the rest of the franchise. The other 12 movies in this franchise all were struggling to keep up. But this here in Halloween 1978, given to us by the great John Carpenter, is a grand slam look for a movie villain. And I love the story that comes along with this character. I love the fact that this little boy at Halloween just snapped. And I didn't want him to have any sort of connection to anybody. I hated that they went that route and that it just carried on for the entire history of the franchise. I just wish it was just a story about evil. Not a family story, not a Druid story, not a Sam Hain story, none of it. Just Michael Myers breaking bad one day, and this is what we wound up with. Now, I haven't reviewed these yet because I'm waiting for October. I want to roll them all out then. I'm really excited about it because Halloween is my jam. It's what I love. It's my favorite series. It's what I compare everything else to, and we're going to have some fun with it when we get to it. But in the meantime, let me know what you think. If you agree with the rankings, if you think I'm nuts, where do you sit on all these different masks? I really think Michael Myers as a whole is the best look amongst all serial killers, as morbid as that is to possibly say. But I mean, look at him. He's right behind me. The guy's the GOAT. And we love and appreciate him here at Aging Gracefully. So I'm Matthew Essex. Thank you for checking it out, and I'll see you guys in Haddonfield.